Hello and welcome back in. Today I'm going to do the top 10 games of 2023. We haven't done one of these in a while. We last did 2022 like 3 or 4 years ago, and it was one of my favorite videos we did. We were actually doing a revisiting of it, but the camera died, and I decided to just do the next one. And this is one that I really enjoy doing these because sometimes the years are a little confusing, and I think seeing the change as new games that you didn't play that year come out, it makes it more fun. But so number 10, this is Stellar Expedition. I got this one from Kickstarter, and I had played it prior to its release. I'd played on Tabletop Simulator with the designer, and I've played it once in person. And it is a space game where you're trying to, I think you're building embassies to try to get the right symbols to fulfill your contracts or something. I can't remember exactly because I haven't played it probably since 2023, but I really enjoyed it. That was his first game. I think he's got another one or two. No, actually, I think he's got quite a few out because he works with a whole design team. But that is Wolfhorn Studios, I think, because Rise of the Wastelands is the newer one that I have of them, and I'm sure that they've got more. But that was his first one, and I quite liked it. I just haven't gone back to play it recently, and I remember thinking it wasn't that hard to learn, so I probably should. Just haven't done it in quite some time. All right, so number 9 is Terrorscape. It's a very big game. It's right behind my head, right up there. There's a bunch of expansions out for it now. And it plays to 4, but I think 1v1 is really where this one is at. One person plays the killer or murderer. I forget, there's a term that they have for it, but one bad guy and the other person plays 3 people that have their own individual powers, and each of the monsters in the box has their own power. And it's kind of a hidden movement game where you know where the bad guy is most of the time. They do have an ability that kind of shields where they are for a turn. And the other one, the people side, are hidden, and you're trying to escape, whether that is to fix a radio or call police or find the keys to unlock the door and leave. That's the other one. It's pretty interesting, and there's a decent amount of stuff out for it. I think I liked this one more initially when it came out. So I didn't do a video for this, but I'd written a list, and I think this one has actually fallen for me since that year came out because I've liked it less. I still think it's really cool, and I'm really excited for Terrascape 2. I think Terrascape 2 will probably fix the things that keep this from being higher for me. But really unique and fun system, and I do recommend playing it. It's quite expensive, so if you can play somebody else's copy, I think it's worth trying, maybe before spending all that money, but it's pretty interesting. Number 8, this is Sea Dragons. So this actually came out in 2023, I think in Mexico or wherever it originally came out in, but I think it came out here in 2025 maybe. So it's only it's new for here, but it has existed in the world already, and it came out in 2023. I've played this, and it's kind of an area control where you have 4 quadrants, and you're trying to have the most or the right spots in these 4 quadrants with your little dragons. And I remember thinking that it was pretty tight, actually. Like, I thought one of us would run away with it, and we didn't, and it was actually fairly close. And every turn I thought had interesting decisions, and the board fills up, and it doesn't feel incomplete when you're done, which is pretty fun. I think some games still make you want more, and I think it gets to that point like where things are so tight at the end that you're kind of in anticipation of it, which is pretty fun. That's one of my favorite groups. I wish I could pull it out and remember the name of that group. The Draco Studios, maybe, I think, published it here. But yeah, number 7. This is a sequel, spinoff, however you want to put it. This is Get on Board Paris and Roma. I think that this is the third one because I think the original was like Make a Bus Route, and there was one for New York and in London, I think, first. I think this is the newest one, or unless there's probably a newer one I'm not aware of. I played this solo only, actually. I had intended on teaching it, but this was one of the roll and writes I played solo last year and really, really liked. You are trying to make these routes, and it's hard to get it to do exactly what you want, but I really enjoyed it. I feel like it's kind of underrated, actually. I got it for, I think, like next to nothing on Amazon. And I keep saying getting things for cheap on Amazon, but when something's $5, it's hard not to want to buy it just to try it, especially when gift cards and reward points and stuff can make it free. But yeah, really good one. I think it was well worth it. I kind of want to get the other ones and try them out. All right, number 6. This is from 25th Century Games. This is Dracula vs. Van Helsing. This is a 2-player, kind of an area control trick-taking game where the cards are actually like tiles, and you're fighting over certain sections. And if you're Dracula, you're trying to bite enough people to win, and if you're Van Helsing, you're trying to do the opposite. You're trying to save people. I thought it was a really tight 2-player trick-taking game that works really well. I know that this is pretty popular. I know that I think this is also the sequel. I think the first one was about Jekyll and Hyde, I think, was the first one. I haven't played that one, but I'm more interested in Dracula, and this is what I've played. So really like this one. And number 5 is Fit to Print. I think this is Flat Out Games, or now they're with AEG. I'm not sure how the partnership thing works, but this is a kind of a tile laying, grid filling thing. It has real time elements where you're trying to grab parts of. You're making a newspaper and you're grabbing these articles and photos and things to try to fill your grid to get the most points. Which I guess isn't kind of surprising because I keep talking about Junk Drawer and how you're trying to fill up these grids the best to get the most points, and I really like it. This is one that I really like too. And I think I've tried the extra stuff that we got with it, and I think this was a lot of fun. I feel like it kind of had some popularity when it came out and faded, and I think that this one is one of those ones that could last a long time. And number 4, this is Robot Quest Arena. I had played this at Dice Tower, I think the year prior, and it was like my favorite game that we play there. It's a deck building skirmish kind of game where you have these big clunky robot miniatures that have their unique player powers, and you're trying to, I think, do the most damage to others, because I think doing damage to others gets you points, and that get the most points wins. And it's really unique. I thought it took deck building and made it, I thought it was a cool engine for a skirmish game. This is one of the few deck builders that Katie actually likes, and I've got some extra stuff for it that makes it better. I don't know if all the different robots are balanced per se, because I found a couple I felt like were a little bit weaker. I certainly hope that the expansions that they did on GameFound eventually come to fruition. I'm not very pleased with how that went. Side rant, paying sales tax for something you might not ever get sucks. Not a fan of crowdfunding sales tax, especially before shipping. Not very happy with how that's gone, but really like the game. So this is moving on to number 3. I actually just switched this because I had made this list like 2 months ago or so, and in that 2 months I've actually decided to shift this, so this one has fallen down for me since I made the list. And this is DC deck building game Injustice. I think there's like 2 of these that come out a year, one or the other, and this is one of the best ones. They kind of revamped the system a little bit in this one, where you have like a health bar and like a power-up bar, kind of like a video game. And I think that they changed it enough that it's different enough from the other ones that it stands out more to me, because there's probably 15 or more of them, and I think this is one of the ones that stands out the most. But it also requires me to do a little bit more to teach it. So it's probably not your first entry into the series, I imagine. And not that you couldn't, but it would just be easier to show somebody a different one first. And I like the Injustice IP. It's one of my favorite ones. I like the video games, the comic books. I read one of the best ones. I think it's a fun twist on the norm. But I think that's probably one of my favorite of the DC deck building games. I really like the rival sets too, like all of them. All right, so number 2, I just talked about this play in November. This is Force Shuffle. I just moved it up from 3rd to 2nd. The more I thought about it, the more I've really liked this one. And I think Injustice has a ton of cards in it, and so does this one. And I think that this one will be more replayable on its own over time. And I've already seen Injustice slowly fall out for me, the DC deck building game. I don't think I even played last year. It was the first year since I started playing them and that I hadn't played one last year. And Force Shuffle I'm still playing. Granted, I haven't had it as long, but I think it will stick around longer for me. We'll have to see on that one. But you're making these combos with your trees and different animals, and it's very point salad-y, I guess, because you can get points from different set collections of different things. It's a lot of fun. I think that there's a lot there that I still haven't even unpacked. It's a lot of game for such a small box, but I guess because it's all cards, you can do anything. All right, finally, number 1. I also just talked about this one in my November video. This is Junk Drawer. I didn't get this initially when it came out, but I got it later, and I wish I had gotten it when it came out because I was really into it at the time I was looking at it, and I was like, oh, I bet that other games will fill that for me, and I think that this is probably the best one still. Like I talked about Fit to Print, and I still really like that one, but I did find that in Fit to Print that I did tend to have the same strategies time and again, and in Junk Drawer there's enough variety that I think it keeps it different every time. And you're pulling different pieces and you don't have control over what you're grabbing, so it does feel different every round, every game you play. And I hope that they come back and do more with this because I really like it, obviously. It's not the heaviest game on this list. I actually don't have really anything super heavy on here, which is kind of unusual, but yeah, that is the top 10 for 2023. It's been a couple years, and I think that's where I'm sitting now. I'm probably missing 1,000 games, but these are the 10 that I guess I noticed and gravitated to, or knew of, or were somebody else that I was hanging out with was interested in. So I think that plays a part in success of games too. But that is all. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.